I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. The Department of Homeland Security announced last week that it is establishing a Disinformation Governance Board to combat false information online. The board was revealed at a Senate Homeland Security Committee hearing and quickly faced criticism from Republicans worried that the board would suppress free speech. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas acknowledged that the purpose and activities of the board could have been better communicated as it was announced, but pushed back on criticisms against it. Listen in as White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki is pressed on the rollout and purpose of the board.
To all of you.
And following up as well on the Disinformation Governance Board. Reading the announcement as well, two examples were pretty prominent. That was, you mentioned, combating disinformation from cartels, and then also disinformation from extremist groups.
Yes.
Just in terms of clarifying here, can you help me kind of assess how this would look for like the common the person that's at their computer right now that sees disinformation online, or for cartels it's usually buying a segment on the radio and saying now's the time to come. How exactly would this board combat that? Would it just be fact checks, publishing guidance, or what would Americans actually see when it comes to the work of this board?
Well, it's continuing work that was done by CISA back to 2020. So what this would do is continue that work, and it would help coordinate internal activities from the department related to disinformation that poses a threat to the homeland. So you gave some examples there of terrorist threats, of course, but also, which is different, the smugglers' work that they do pushing disinformation. The mandate is not to adjudicate what is true or false online or otherwise. It will operate in a nonpartisan and apolitical manner. It's basically meant to coordinate a lot of the ongoing work that is happening, and what their focus is. The focus is on disinformation and threats to the homeland, as I noted, which things like things that would incite violent extremism, human traffickers and other transnational criminal organizations, any efforts that malign foreign influence, anything that would endanger individuals during emergencies. So a lot of this work is really about work that people may not see every day, that's ongoing by the Department of Homeland Security.
Would there be something public-facing they would see, or would all of this happen kind of behind closed doors amongst
they certainly will consider putting out public products that represents the department's view on disinformation-related manners, but that's their overarching objective, and I don't have a determination of what that format would look like at this point.
One more on that, just what will DHS be relying on when determining what is information from extremist groups? Will they be relying on the FBI's sort of, lists of groups that could pose extremist violence, or is there some other kind of platform that DHS is relying on to identify?
Sure, I understand your question. I'm not sure there's much detail I can get into from here. This is, again, ongoing work that has been happening by CISA back to 2020, and I would point you to the Department of Homeland Security if they have more details on any sources they're looking at.
Is this being run through CISA then?
It was run through CISA for back to 2020. It's continuing that work and is part of the Department of Homeland Security's work.
Yeah, one more.